造の前に破壊や。
Hey, what's up, Broken Racing family? Know I've been away for longer than I said I would be, but you know how it is, waiting on stuff to come in, things to happen. Haven't taken the engine out of the car yet. Basically, still waiting on them to do a building inspection, and I don't want the car in here tore up and oil and fluids and stuff all over the place. They will more than likely ding us, so gotta wait until the inspection happens and then I can pull the engine out. But basically in this video I wanted to cover what I'm going to do, deleting the DI system, so blocking off the DI ports in the head and blocking off the port for the high pressure fuel pump. Basically on this video, just be covering doing the DI ports and doing the high pressure fuel port. So as you may know, I'm attempting to run with the Nexus Motorsports DI delete kit. They announced it earlier in the year, and they've already had the group buy in. Only thing I've purchased or attempted to purchase is the fuel injector wiring harness and the B58 coil wiring harness. Apparently they put out a statement not too long ago that they're having an issue on the software side of things, something about an injector post, and that's delaying everything. I'm assuming they don't want to send out all the hardware without having the software side of things completely figured out. So I would hope that, you know, maybe I can get my wiring harnesses so I can get those worked into the car while everything's out. Also, if you've been following me, you know I'm putting in an 8-speed transmission, and when I get my Cantu, that's gonna have to also, you know, do some wiring in there. So I would like to do all of that all at once and not have to go backtrack back and forth. So in this video, we're gonna be covering how to block off the DI ports in the head and show you what I did to block off the high pressure fuel pump port. And I guess that's it. So stay tuned to the video. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Stay tuned. All right, this is pretty much everything you need to get it done. First thing that you will need is a long drill bit. It's 11/32. You will also need a tap, and the tap is, if I remember correctly, it is M10 by 1.25, and this is a 200mm tap. So you want to find one that's long enough so that when you're drilling it in there, it's not, you know, running into parts of the head, and you can get a nice clean hole in there. This piece, I'll show you guys how to make this. All right, about to try and put together the drill guide tool. What I did is put the actual drill guide bit, I had it sitting, actually it was inside some water, inside a block of ice. I just already cracked a block of ice. I make sure it was in a plastic bag so that didn't get wet. And got the 14mm socket here in this bad boy. I'm gonna take this guy, take it out of the bag. Looks like we might need a Bruce Waiter. Hot. Woo. Toasty. And here it is. As you can see, it's completely flush. And that will sit down in the head and hold drill bit straight. This is basically what I'm using to hold the drill bit steady. Basically, it's just a 14mm socket, and it has a small drill guide, and I'll put a link below where I bought it at so you guys can get it. But basically, you take it and press it in here, and then as you can see, it holds the drill bit steady so that you get a nice, straight, even bore. Titanium bolts, these go inside the ports after you tap them. And these are 26mm freeze plugs. These just go over the bolts, the ports, so that there won't be any dust or dirt or any grease getting down in there for whatever future reasons you might want to switch back to port injection. You can just take these bolts back out and put inserts in. And this will be the last part of it. This goes into the spark plug hole, and you hook this in up to your air compressor. And I bought this one. It has a Schrader valve on it so that you control when the air goes in. And you really need this port. The spark plug ports take a 12mm thread. So you need a 12, screw that down in there, and then turn your air on, and this is gonna blow any excess shavings that might be down into the ports. And you're gonna need some grease. This grease has to go over the drill bit. This catches the first bit of metal shavings that might go down in the head, and you put it on the drill bit and on your tap so you can catch as much shavings as possible. But when you get done with all of that, you want to make sure you blow any residual metal bits out with this. Now you might be wondering why I have a chopstick here, and I'll show you that when I get ready to start working, what I do with the chopstick. Basically just helps me figure out where the piston's at. And you're going to need a 12mm socket so that you can turn the engine over. And of course, you need a drill. And lastly, some high temp thread sealant. And that's pretty much everything you need to pull this job off. Alright, so first thing I'm gonna do is take my handy dandy chopstick, stick it down here in the port, and I want to see where the piston is at. Basically my thinking is I want the piston to start off at top dead center, and then I want to turn it so that it about I guess maybe halfway down, less than half, like maybe a quarter of the way down. I don't want the piston up far enough that the drill runs into it, but I don't want it so far down that when I go to blow the metal shavings out, there's a lot of space for the shavings to just blow around willy-nilly. So that looks about good. Take that bag out and get ready to start drilling. All right, so now you want to take the drill guide bit and make sure you got a magnet on hand. Take that and you drop it down in here, and it should sit in there flush, just like that. Hopefully you can see it. See if I can get you a little bit closer. Yeah, basically it should be down in there like that. All right, after you figure out where you want the piston, you want to make sure you grease up your drill bit real good. Get a nice amount of grease on there. That way you can catch all of the metal shavings, well, not all of them, but most of them, in the grease. Take your drill bit, stick it down in there. Make sure it goes through. You'll get a little contact. Start off slow, and as you go through, you'll feel some resistance. And then when you don't feel any resistance, stop and back the drill back out. And when you pull it out, you'll have all of these metal shavings on there. You want to make sure you clean all of that out before you get ready to put the tap in place. But that's basically what it should look like. Alright, the next part is your tap. So you want to pull your guide out, clean off any extra filings that might be on there. And you can't put this through, won't go through there. So what you have to do is open this up, take the guide and put the guide on like this. Screw it back in place. And now you're ready. So same deal with the tap. You want to make sure you cover it with grease before you get to work. Stick it back down in the port. Make sure it's firmly in place. You'll feel pressure. And then you want to start to run your tap down. Now I learned this when I was doing head ports for the PCV block off. You want to run it in and then run it back. And then start it back to make sure you get a good clean thread in there. All right, I think we're all the way through. Back that out. As you can see, got all kinds of metal shavings in here. All right, now you want to take the spark plug out. Not a bad time to investigate your spark plugs, make sure they're not messed up or fouled out or anything. Take this end, stick it down into the spark plug tube, and make sure you don't cross thread anything. Got it in there. You just give it a twisty twist. Twist until it feels snug, and then get your air compressor. All right, once you get your air compressor tube, put it on there. I would advise getting safety glasses, because the last thing you want is a metal shaving in your eye. Let me grab mine real quick. Now, once you got on your eye safety, take your valve, open it up. I don't know if you can see that, but a bunch of metal shavings just shot out directly at my face. If I hadn't had these glasses on, I'd be sitting here screaming. In the end, that's what your bore should look like. Half of me says stick something down there and try and clean the grease, leftover stuff out, but I think I'm just gonna leave that because I'm afraid I might push it back down in there. But your next move is to put the bolts in. So let's go over that part. All right, you got your titanium bolt. Before you put it down in there, you want to take your thread sealant. Make sure it's high temp thread sealant. Take your bolt, drop it down in there. Screw in. Make sure you start it by hand. You want it nice and firm in there. It doesn't have to be over torqued, torque real crazy. Just make sure it's in there nice and firm. I would probably torque it down to the same value that you would torque spark plugs to, just to be on the safe side. All right, this shouldn't take a whole lot of brain work to do. Just take your trusty magnet, your freeze plug, stick them together, pop it down in there. And if you push hard enough, it should get wedged. Come on, stay down in there. It's not quite in there straight, but we'll fix that. Just take my extension, stick it on there. Might work a little bit better if you put them in the freezer or something and shrink them a little bit, but you don't need these to be in there super tight. Like if you ever want to get these back out of there in the future. And just leave it in there like that. Leave it sitting in there like that, and you're good to go. Now, what I want to say is, Nexus already makes a high pressure port block off. I think it's about almost $40. And actually, that'd probably be cheaper and a faster way to go. But I'm saying that with today being what, May the 9th or 8th or whatever, nobody has theirs yet. So, you know, in the future, you could probably order it and get it in a couple of days. But as of nobody having any of that right now, this is the route I'm going. And the other reason is I had the Helix on there, and the Helix comes with its own billet piece. So I had to take that out when I sold the Helix and put this back in place. And there's a gasket that goes up under there. And it's probably a good idea to replace it if you have to take this off, because it's probably been sitting up under there for a decade. This has only been up under there for like a couple of years, however long I've had my Helix in there. So I'm just pretty much going to reuse it. It should still be in good shape. But you know, if yours has never been taken off before, it's the gasket, the only one that I can find is like almost $30, like $27 on eBay. And you know, that's how much I paid to get the replacement gasket. So after you end up spending the money to get the 50mm plug and getting the gasket, you pretty much spent the same amount of money you would have just buying the fancy plug from Nexus. So I would say if you don't have to take yours off, like I had to take mine off, just go ahead and buy the Nexus unit, and it'll just screw in here and block that off instead of what I'm doing. All right, so what I'm trying to do now is I have my high pressure fuel pump mounting plate, and I want to, instead of buying a block off for it, I'm going to try and put a 50mm freeze plug in there. I believe Nexus, they're selling their block off plate for like 30-40 bucks. That's definitely a better option compared to like VTT is like over $130, which is stupid. But the reason why I'm doing it this way, you know, I have a Helix on my car, and that comes with its own mounting plate, and I'm planning to sell the whole kit. You get the most amount of money, of course, I'm gonna have to sell the whole kit with everything that comes with it. So I have to put this one back on, and it comes with a seal. The seal, the only one that you could pretty much find on the internet is like $27, like almost $30. So that would pretty much negate any money savings, you know, not doing that. So since I would have to get the gasket anyway, the seal or whatever to put on there, this will be saving me some money. But if you already have yours in place, your stock unit, and there's no oil leaking out or anything like that, I would say go ahead and get the block off from Nexus and save yourself some money and some time. So how I'm gonna try and do this is I have got a air fryer here, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put this in here and try and heat it up. I think this goes up to like 390 degrees. Hopefully that's warm enough. And got the freeze plug over here in the freezer. So let me throw this in the air fryer. We're gonna leave it in there, I'd say for about 20 minutes, I guess, and see what happens. So let's drop that in there. 20 minutes. And over here in the freezer, here's the freeze plug. So what I'm gonna do is take the freeze plug and wait until that gets up to temperature, and then put this in there. I'm gonna use this plate and a mallet, and hopefully it'll just press in place. If I can't get this to shrink enough, I guess the next play would probably be like, what do you call it, dried ice, and see if I can get it colder to get it to shrink more. So we'll see what happens. Alright, we're gonna pull this out of here now. I think it's hot enough. Couldn't find the gloves I wanted to find. I'm gonna go with these. Got the hammer, got my plate. already went in, but just in case. Flat. Hold it with these cheap gloves on. Set it on here. So, as you can see, it's pretty well flush. It's kind of sunken in a little bit. So, guess the time will tell if that actually works. If not, I might have to swing back around and actually buy me a bolt-on unit. So, yep. Lastly, what I'm going to do is put some RTV sealant around the inside. I'm sure it's probably overkill, but just a little cheap security. So just run it around the inside. And just get a decent line around on the inside. Nothing too crazy. Alright, so first thing you want to do is clean off the space. All the gasket and everything's going. And get any residual out of the way. Gasket has a bit of a divot in it. If I remember correctly, it goes down around here. Alright, well, that's the end of this video. As you can see, got all the stuff that's supposed to be going on. A lot of it sitting over there, but yeah, this is turning into a real job, and I would be surprised if the job got bigger. You know how Project Creep works. So what I need y'all to do is hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, leave a comment so you can see what's going on. Hopefully watch me watch me reach the finish line. The goal to get into that 10-second class and beyond. Hell, maybe even 9s. But I think I can do it. Maybe in the future we might have to go to a big single, but yep, you know, I'm gonna put in that work. So keep following the videos, keep checking me out, hit the subscribe button, and keep looking out for new videos. Definitely should start once we get that engine out of there. Everything will start moving a lot faster. So stay with me. Love y'all. Be safe.
Because it gotta be that way for us to get equality to be